There was a Tara O'Connor, I believe her name was, a young Irish lass who was Junior Miss Trump Atlantic City pageant sexist winner.
Donald Trump has been mad at you for a very long time.
Over a decade.
Over a decade.
Yes. And she's the prostitute. And who is he? He's the moral arbiter of 20-year-old behavior now, right? So then I said, some facts that I just went on Wiki.
I was scrolling through Truth Social yesterday. Not that anyone actually uses Trump's failed platform. And guess who was having another public meltdown about Rosie O'Donnell? Our former president seems absolutely obsessed with responding to her comedy special where she called him mentally unstable. It's almost like Rosie knows exactly which buttons to push to make him lose it. She's been battling him since 2006, and now she's revealing the secret Trump recordings that producer Mark Burnett has locked away. The way Trump is reacting tells us everything we need to know about what might be on those tapes. Before we move on, I'd like to ask you a small favor. If you appreciate this content, please take a second to like this video and subscribe to the channel. Over 98% of you watch the videos without subscribing. It costs you nothing, but it makes a huge difference to us. So, did you click the subscribe button? Great, thank you so much. Now, back to the video. Ever wonder what's actually in those secret Apprentice tapes that Rosie O'Donnell claims Mark Burnett is hiding? According to her, they would completely destroy Trump's carefully crafted image if they ever saw the light of day. Rosie didn't hold back when she dropped this bombshell, claiming Burnett is sitting on recordings of Trump using every racist word imaginable and telling women to get down on their knees. Yikes. The contrast couldn't be more stark. On The Apprentice, viewers saw a composed, business-savvy Trump firing people with authority. But if Rosie's allegations are true, the reality behind the scenes was something entirely different. The show essentially performed a magic trick on America, transforming a guy with a string of business failures into someone who looked like he actually knew what he was doing.
Donald Trump has been mad at you for a very long time.
Over a decade.
Over a decade.
Yes. I have to say, as a 55-year-old woman who lived through Vietnam, when I was in 1973, my mom died, and 2 months later, they started the Watergate hearings. And he said, just want you to know, I've forgiven her, and this young woman, I'm like, what is he, the pimp?
Talk about the power of editing. What's particularly interesting is how Burnett has refused to release these tapes despite their potential significance. Rosie didn't mince words about this either, calling his refusal a sin. It's like having evidence that could change history but keeping it locked away in a vault. Why would Burnett protect Trump this way? Is it loyalty, legal concerns, or something else entirely? Trump's reaction to Rosie's claims was exactly what you'd expect, an immediate social media meltdown. Nothing proves someone's point about your inability to handle criticism quite like having a public tantrum about it. It's like when a toddler gets called cranky and then throws a fit to prove they're definitely not cranky. The orange man just can't help himself. These alleged tapes fit into a larger pattern we've seen with Trump. His worst behavior often gets edited out, covered up, or explained away by those around him. Remember all those White House staffers who would quietly remove papers from his desk? Same energy. Rosie went as far as describing these recordings as a cache of all Trump's sickness, suggesting there might be even more disturbing content beyond what she's already mentioned. What else could be on those tapes that would make even hardened political observers gasp? If Mark Burnett's secret tapes reveal Trump behind closed doors, his Truth Social meltdown show us what happens when no one can take his phone away. Trump might fancy himself as some kind of tech genius, but Rosie O'Donnell has a different assessment of his social media platform. She calls it horrible and failing. Pretty harsh words, but have you seen Truth Social lately? It's like watching a digital Titanic, except instead of hitting an iceberg, it crashed into Trump's own ego. There's something deeply ironic about a platform named Truth being run by someone Rosie considers the least truthful person in American politics.
It's been really, we've sort of made the joke on the show that he's flip-flopped on everything except you.
It's actually very true. There was a Tara O'Connor, I believe her name was, a young Irish lass who was Junior Miss Trump Atlantic City pageant sexist winner. I have put in that request by tweet.
Yeah.
And I'm waiting to hear, but nothing really will.
Truth Social was supposed to be Trump's big answer to Twitter after he got banned, but instead it's become Exhibit A in the case against his supposed digital mastery. Technical glitches, barely any users, and money problems have plagued the platform since day one. What's really fascinating is how Trump's behavior online gives us a front row seat to his psychological makeup. Rosie pointed out his bizarre social media media habits. Those all-caps rants at 3 a.m., weird punctuation that looks like it was typed by someone banging their head on a keyboard, and the predictable rage whenever anyone criticizes him. It's like watching a toddler who missed nap time trying to operate a smartphone.
And did it sort of start? It started from The View, yes?
The View.
Yeah.
He was on that little escalator down with the fake crowd going, look, here's my wife who loves me. And she's like, how do I get out of here? You know, right? And she's the prostitute. And who is he? He's the moral arbiter of 20-year-old behavior now, right? So then I said, you know, some facts that I just went on Wiki.
Rosie didn't pull these observations out of thin air either. She referenced the book Duty to Warn, written by 27 psychiatrists who felt they had an ethical obligation to alert the public about Trump's mental state. That's not one or two random doctors. That's 27 mental health professionals waving red flags and saying, hey America, we might have a problem here. According to Rosie, Trump's digital behavior shows a clear pattern. Every single day, he just grants my perception of him as correct by his actions, by his words. She describes him as narcissistic mentally ill and says that when he feels upset and humiliated and embarrassed, he has no control and goes apeshit. Strong words, but then again, Trump immediately proved her point. When Rosie's comedy special hit the airwaves, what happened? Right on cue, Trump fired up Truth Social for a rage-filled post calling her unfunny Rosie and a total loser. He might as well have sent Rosie a thank you note for proving her point about his inability to handle criticism. It's like a scientific experiment where the subject confirms the hypothesis every single time.
That were easily accessible since this campaign began. That he is bankrupt 4 times, that he got all his money from his father. And I remember as a child feeling, wow, there's no safety in my house, and look, there's no safety in the world. And all of that came right up when he, you know, first of all, when he announced, I was like laughing.
If Trump gets indicted, it would be really great if Mueller let you serve the papers. I feel like...
I just thought it would never happen.
Same here.
So
I've been wrong at every turn.
I said to my therapist, you know, I got this new show, Smilf, but I have to go to Boston to start shooting.
The best part about Rosie's comedy special isn't just the laughs, it's the psychological trap she masterfully set. And wouldn't you know it, Trump walked right into it by labeling her unfunny Rosie and a total loser in his furious response. He essentially confirmed her entire diagnosis of his fragile ego and inability to handle criticism. It's like watching a real-time psychological experiment unfold. Trump simply cannot resist responding to anyone who questions his carefully constructed image, especially when it comes from someone he's feuded with for years. His predictable meltdown makes you wonder, if this is how he publicly reacts to a comedy routine, what kind of behavior might actually be captured on those supposedly hidden Apprentice recordings? The true punchline isn't in Rosie's stand-up. It's watching Trump provide all the evidence needed to support her claims with every angry word he types. Talk about comedy that writes its own sequel.